Hello everyone and welcome to the bonus lecture for the Token 2022 program. As previously mentioned or as previously presented in the bonus lecture, we were talking about the token program from the SPL or from the Solana program library. Today we are going to talk about the Token 2022, which is kind of extended functionality over this token program. This lecture is going to be also a bit shorter because Token 2022 is, I would say, still kind of new. And also, I just don't want to halt you with a lot of programming and so on. So this bonus lecture should serve more informational purpose than like the programming. The token program is still fundamental because it provides functionality as the mint, which can create or which is tied to creating new tokens. Then there are the token accounts which actually hold the tokens. And yeah, the Token 2022 is actually extension over this token program. So, but this will be discussed later. So, in order to understand the Token 2022, we should firstly go through the reminder what actually is SPL. The SPL is Solana Program Library, and it's nothing less than or nothing more than the collection of on-chain programs. We can say it is standard because it is kind of native. What is then SPL token program? The SPL token program, as I said, standard from the SPL. It's one of the programs within the SPL which serves the purpose of creating and managing tokens on the Solana. You may be familiar with the term as mint, which specifies new token, and you may also know what is the token account. The token account is account which holds the amount of tokens. You can be owner over this token account. That means the tokens, you own the tokens. On the other hand, this is great, but I would say this is like the first version of the tokens of Solana. The Token 2022, I think, will bring a lot of new use cases, and also I would say it's like the version 2 of tokens on Solana, because the token program, even if it's great, it has also a lot of limitations, because you may also experience it already. You may went through the implementation of the token program. I mean, like, you could check the Solana program library and check what are all of the instructions specified within the program, and you may notice that there is a lot of important implementations, or I mean a lot of important instructions, for example, for creating new mints, for transfers, for setting authorities, for burning tokens. There is also functionality for wrapping SOL, for example. But I just want to say that we can build on this implementation of token program, and the token program has a lot of limitations. For example, you can transfer tokens, but you are not able to enforce fees on these transfers. For example, you have the mint account, or you want to create a mint account, but you are not able to create a metadata account which specifies additional data to this mint. Just so, for example, you want to create new NFT. For this, you need new mint of, for example, the acceptance NFT or the completion NFT from the School of Solana. It's just the regular mint from the token program, but in order to the mint should or the mint has to also contain metadata account, and this metadata account contains another field such as name of the token, symbol of the token, URI which points somewhere off chain, and this URI contains the picture of the NFT and so on. So mint accounts or token program is good in order to create mint accounts, but somehow you need to create also this metadata account that can store this additional information over the tokens. Currently, the situation was that you had to use, or maybe there are some other options, but the most common option is to use Metaplex, which has its own metadata account. So for the mints, using the Metaplex, you can create metadata accounts. That's exactly how we actually created the acceptance NFTs and completion NFTs and so on. I'm not against Metaplex, obviously, because they are a great team, but you have to use like the third-party program in order to create metadata. Token-2022 program, on the other hand, improves this and adds additional functionality over the mint, so you can specify, let's say natively, the metadata account without creating anything with the Metaplex. However, you can, as you will see, there is still option to also use Metaplex with the Token-2022. So these are the limitations. There are also plenty of other limitations, which I probably can't think about right now, but yeah, we will see. I will go through the token extensions or Token-2022, and something will pop to my mind maybe later. So let me drink water. Sorry guys for the pause. You can have a look on this great picture I used probably in the previous bonus lecture, and I still think it's really great and relevant, because on the right hand side we can see the token program and system program. System program is basically native program on the Solana. Token program is from the SPL or from the Solana program library. Then in the middle there is the mint account, which specifies the new token. So let's say we are talking about some meme coin, for example, what's the name of the token? Dog with head or something like that. Yeah, this meme token has also its own mint account. And then on the left hand side there is the token account, which actually holds some amount of tokens of corresponding mint. We can briefly touch the fields stored within the mint account and token account. So you can see there is the mint authority. So this is the authority which can mint new tokens. There is the supply. This is the total amount of tokens in circulation. So what is actually the supply? So if you create new tokens, the supply inside the mint account will increase, and there is the decimal places. This is something like cents to the euro or to the dollars. On the left hand side there is token account, and token account has, for example, you can also notice these 3 dots because there are another fields, but these fields are not that important right now. Within the mint, within the token account, this token account is tied to the mint. You can see the public key. It has some owner, which is the system account owned wallet. So it's basically your wallet in the Phantom, Soulflare, and so on and so on. And this is the third field is the amount, which is the amount of tokens this token account holds. So the functionality is pretty simple, I would say. However, as I said, there are the limitations. So if you want to transfer tokens from this token account to your friend or somewhere to your mother, let's say, and the functionality is just simple. So you can only transfer. There is no such enforcement for fees on the transfers. You cannot include a memo on the transfers and so on. So this is actually what should improve in the Token-2022, as it provide the most important part, provide advanced configurable functionality. And there is the important word businesses. which I think is really important, because as after this lecture, I hope you will realize that this will be also important for businesses and for the new companies on the Solana blockchain. So what it is, I already mentioned it a few times. Token 2022 aims to increase or to improve or to add functionality over the previous mint accounts and token accounts. What is the motivation? I think the motivation is pretty self-explanatory, because you want to add the new functionality over the tokens, right? If the tokens supported on the Solana blockchain have only the simple functionality, why not to add the new functionality over the tokens? So this is the motivation. The motivation is also to improve security. You will see that there is something called CPI guard on the token accounts. A lot of attacks on blockchains, not only Solana, happens because of phishing, and this CPI guard should improve security from the phishing attacks. So, for example, this can be the motivation. The motivation can be better UI for the creating new NFTs. The motivation, you will see there is the transfer hook, which is like maybe the biggest use case from the Token 2022, because you can invoke your own program within each transfer of tokens. But later, I just don't want to spend a lot of time on this one slide. So there are basically two types of extensions. First type is mint mint extensions, and second type are token account extensions. So if we go back to this picture, one type is regarding the mint account. This means mint extensions. These are the extensions specified for the token, and second extensions are over this token account type, which the amount of token account extensions is smaller. So, but we will see. So let me go back. Firstly, we will go through the mint extensions. I will just introduce you to the mint extensions, and then later on we will go a bit more into details about the extensions, but not too much into details, because I don't want to halt you with a lot of information and a lot of programming and so on. So mint extensions are added on top of the original Solana token program and are extend the ability of tokens, or in this case, to be precise, of mint accounts. What are these? Confidential transfers. Transfer fees, as I said, it can be really helpful to enforce fees on the transfers. Closing mint. Currently, it was not, or you were not able to close a mint which you found useless, for example. Interest-bearing tokens. This can be really helpful, for example, for bonds or dividends, maybe staking rewards. Non-transferable tokens. This means the tokens are tied to the token account and cannot be transferred. Permanent delegate. This is really great for some jurisdictions where you need to size assets of some sanctioned user or entity. So you should have permanent delegate over the token account, so you can burn, freeze, transfer assets. Transfer hook. I would say one of the greatest use case for tokens, as you can specify your own program during every transfer of tokens. Metadata pointer and metadata, as I was talking about the metaplex, Token 2022 should improve this and natively support metadata. There is also the metadata pointer, which can canonically specify what is the correct metadata account. This is also good because you can still support, or the Token 2022 still supports the metaplex. This means if you create metadata with the metaplex, this metadata pointer can point to this metadata account created by the metaplex. Then there is the second option, or second type, which are token account extensions. Again, built on top of the SPL token program, and added the functionality to token account, so real token account related features. the list here is a bit shorter, so memory required on incoming transfers. This means incoming transfers needs message. So I'm not really experienced with this part because I do not require this within my bank account, let's say, but some other people may require it. Maybe some bigger institutions, businesses require this on incoming transfers and so on. Immutable ownership, this means you won't be able, or this is just extension. I don't want to say that always you won't be able. You can optionally turn this on. You can specify immutable ownership over the token account. This can be particularly helpful for the associated token accounts because there may be inconsistency, let's say, when you created associated token account and you change the owner of the associated token account. This means the seeds and the owner and the mint does not correspond anymore. So the immutable ownership can improve this inconsistency. You can also specify default account state for the token accounts. This is particularly helpful because when a new token account is created for some mint, this token account will have a default state. This means, let's say it's frozen, for example, and it will be open after some time, or you need to pass KYC and so on in order to unfreeze the account. And there are the CPI guards, which are particularly helpful for the phishing attacks, for example. Okay, so in more details. Mint extensions, confidential transfers. The confidential transfers allow transfers between participating users without revealing the amount of the transfer. For this purpose, the Solana program library contains really great PDF. The PDF is actually split into two parts, and this PDF contains on one hand side a lot of math, but I would say it's really great to go through the PDF because the PDF specifies actually how the zero knowledge proofs are used within these confidential transfers. It also specifies the difference between confidentiality and anonymity. Confidentiality in this case is privacy of amount. Anonymity is privacy of the identities. The confidential transfers aim to support the confidentiality. This means when you transfer tokens, the public keys of the destination and source accounts are still publicly available, but the amount you transferred is encrypted and can be decrypted only by the source account or destination account. So the amount you sent is actually private. Then there are the transfer fees. Allow transfer fees to be charged on each transfer and sent to a defined account. This can be helpful, and I think I did not mention this, but let's say for the NFTs, there is something called royalty fee. I think it's called royalty fee, but basically this fee is when you transfer the NFT, or sorry, when you sell the NFT, this fee, this small royalty fee, should be sent to the NFT creator. Currently, the state was that this could be enforced, but again, you had to use Metaplex. With the Token-2022, this should be native for the tokens. Okay, so this is one of the use cases. Then there is the mint close authority. As I said, this authority allows owners to close mint account and reclaim, I think I'm missing the word, rent on the mint account. Then there are, let's say, interest-bearing tokens. Allow setting an interest rate on the token and retrieving a record of accumulated interest for display purposes. So let's say staking rewards, let's say bonds. I would say also maybe dividends can go into this section. And these are more about real world assets. And there are non-transferable tokens. This extension allows tokens that cannot be moved to any other entity. This is particularly helpful, let's say in games, or let's say in companies. You are part of the company, so Okay, in the companies maybe not, because you can leave the company, so you should not have the token anymore. Then there is permanent delegate. I think I mentioned this in some previously. In some jurisdictions, it might be required to seize assets from sanctioned entities. So in this case, you can specify permanent delegate over the token accounts. That means you can burn, transfer any amount of tokens. And there are the transfer hooks. Transfer hooks allows you to call specific programs with each token transfer. That means you create whatever program you want, and you specify this program as transfer hook. That means whenever you transfer tokens or whenever a transfer appears of some token that the transfer hook is specified for, this program specified within the transfer hook will be invoked. That means, let's say KYC, let's say some bot checks in gaming and so on. But I will go through the use cases later. Metadata pointer. As I was talking about the metaplex, this can be particularly helpful to specify the official metadata for the token. As I said, this can be also used with the metaplex, so you can still use metaplex, but you can support the metadata which are natively supported by the token 2022. Allows metadata to be incorporated natively into token through custom fields. This metadata account can contain simple name, let's say Yuri, to point somewhere off chain where the picture is stored, and so on. There are the token extensions, and sorry guys, I need some water. As I was talking about memo required on transfers, so you can specify them that you require an attached memo as a message during each token transfer to. There is the immutable owner. The immutable owner makes it impossible to reassign ownership of an account. I mentioned it. There is there is problem that if you have associated token account which have its address derived from the mint and owner, then you take the mint, you take the owner, and you know what are the seeds for the PDA of the associated token account. On the other hand, if you change the owner, the PDA does not anymore corresponds because you change basically one of the seed. So the pub key stored within the owner field is different. Okay, so if you then take the mint, you take the owner, the PDA is different because the owner is different, which is one of the seeds. Then there is the default account state. Self-explanatory. You can specify default values for each field in the token account. So let's say the token account can be initially frozen, for example, and you need to pass something, some KYC, some bot approval, and so on. That will unfreeze the tokens in your token account. The users must interact with the project in some way to unfreeze the account's tokens. CPI guards. These guards can be particularly helpful with the phishing attacks because you can basically specify that for each, I think, transfer you need to or the delegate needs to sign the transaction. So let's say you are on some phishing site and the phishing site wants to drain your wallet, so and you sign the transaction, but you have CPI guard. It means the delegate needs also to sign the transaction, I think. Great against the phishing attacks. Let's go briefly through the use cases. I think there are a lot of use cases, but let's say just only for the transfer hooks. You can specify. You can use the transfer hook in every part of the like the niche on the Solana blockchain. If it's gaming, you can use transfer hook. If it's DeFi, you can use transfer hooks for, let's say, the QIC. If it's DAOs, you can again use transfer hooks and so on. So even though the list might not be like the longest one, I think there are a lot of use cases which I do not mention here. So let's say for the gaming, soulbound non-transferable tokens for the unique identifier of the users. Then there are, as I said, the transfer hook. You can ensure that actual players are using or are playing in your game instead of bots. And there are the transfer fees. The transfer fees can enforce fees on every transfer in game, which can then be helpful for game development. There is the permanent delegate. This can be also helpful because if you are a cheater and there is a permanent delegate over the tokens in game, then that means if you are cheating, then they can ban you, they can freeze your asset, they can burn your asset, and so on. Confidential transfers. I don't think this is just within the gaming, but the confidential transfers can increase privacy of any niche. Then DAOs. Within the DAOs, there is it can be particularly helpful to have immutable owner and non-transferable tokens. That means it's good for governance decisions because if you hold the tokens, you are responsible for decisions in the DAO. But you can transfer the tokens and you transfer these tokens to some other person, and then this person is responsible for making decisions in the DAO governance. However, if the tokens are immutable and non-transferable, I mean, if the token has the immutable ownership and the tokens are non-transferable, you cannot just send the assets to another person, so the decisions are tied to you. Again, confidential transfers, this can be really great for private funding. This means, let's say some VC want to fund some DAO, but they don't want to disclose how much, let's say, USDC they send. So they will use confidential transfers, so the amount of USDC is actually private. Let's say DeFi's. In the DeFi ecosystem, particularly for real-world assets, you can use interest-bearing tokens to earn interest. As I mentioned, okay, staking is not from real-world assets, but these interest-bearing tokens can be used for staking rewards. But this can be also used for bonds, and I think that can be also used for dividends, which are from the real-world asset, as stocks are real-world assets. And metadata to specify more info and origin of the token. I think this can improve the possibility to bring actually the real world assets on chain. Let's say the stocks, you need to specify additional information about the stock. You don't want to have just the mint account, but you need to have metadata account which specifies the origin of the stock, of the stocks, when the firm or where the company was created, who is the CEO, and so on. And you need to store this data for the token. So this is what you can use the metadata for. Then there are the transfer hooks for KYC, so which is also required in, I would say, everywhere, because you cannot simply transfer anything these days without KYC. Then stablecoins, for example, can use transfer hooks for the KYC. I can also see that the permanent delegate, I mentioned it in the previous slides, that in some jurisdictions, the stablecoin issuers need to be or had to be able to size assets on some sanctioned entities. So if you can freeze or remove tokens, you are actually able to size assets. You can transfer the tokens from the token account. So you are actually able to size assets if there is some fraud or criminal activity of the owner. So yeah, I'm not sure if there is anything else. Not so. Yeah, this was like the introduction to the Token 2022. I see that we are 32 minutes in. If you are interested in this, just ping me on the Discord or let's say write me DM, and we can go through some of the extensions in more details. If you are also interested in this, I can provide you some research materials. As I said, the confidential transfers have really great PDFs in the SPO GitHub. Yes, so then there is official Solana documentation which specifies more details about each of the extension. There is more info about the CPI guards, how can they be used. So if you are interested in this, yeah, just ping me or just go to the Solana documentation, and you can read more about them there. And I'm really looking forward for your Solana programs. You may be able to also incorporate or use token extensions in your Solana programs. You can try to use, let's say, I would say the simpler ones, not the transfer hooks, but for example, the transfer fees. Last thing I want to say is thank you that you are in the School of Solana, and you were thank you also that you were in this lecture, and see you next time, guys.